So what is the principle?
It is the 80-20 principle that 20% of result, 80% of result came from the 20%. It is something like that. It is applied in most of the cases. Something like that.
Very good. What's your name? Priyesh. So Priyesh has given the clear definition of Pareto principle. 20% of the syllabus will give you 80% of the marks. Now, which are that 20% syllabus you have to focus on? So, what is the principle?
It is the 80-20 principle that 20% of result, 80% of result came from the 20%. It is something like that. It is applied in most of the cases. Something like that.
Very good. What's your name? Priyesh. So Priyesh has given the clear definition of Pareto principle. 20% of the syllabus will give you 80% of the marks. Now, which are that 20% syllabus you have to focus on? And when you read the newspaper, you are just reading it without thinking what you are reading. You should always have a goal, always have an objective, what I am going to do. If you are reading newspaper, Hindu, any newspaper if you pick, आपने आज पढ़ा उसको follow नहीं किया. First of all, you should know about your country, general mental ability, and awareness of your surroundings. You should know about your country, and you can divide your syllabus into two parts: static and the part which you have to update yourself. And do you know how much part would be under this static portion, like which does not change at all? Roughly, like what percentage would that be? 40%. 60% of the syllabus, 60% of the content changes every year, or it is undergoing change.
20% might not be changing with time.
20% might not change. 80% change. I'm talking about a window of around 2 to 3 years. Like you have come for the preparation and you divide your syllabus like this is the static portion where I don't need to read a newspaper. I will just focus on this content. How much percent would that be?
Around 25%.
25%. Yeah. Any other guess? It is around 85%. Around 85%, and sometimes more than that. 85% of your syllabus is not going to change. Today you are reading 3G, Wi-Fi, WiMAX. Even 15 years before, people were reading that. And the answer is same. Tell me how many topics are there which were not there 5 years back.
COVID.
How many questions did you get from COVID? Did you appear for exam? किसी ने क्वेश्चन पेपर उठा के देखा? कोविड से कितने क्वेश्चंस आए थे? One question out of? And what was the question? Do you really need to read something special to answer that question, or you could answer that question had COVID not been there? What I am telling you is, you have fixed number of hours when you have to study. You are reading newspaper, you are giving too much weightage to the newspaper and very less weightage to your subjects. Have a good grip on your ancient history, medieval history, modern history, and India after independence. Especially that is a time period. You should have which are the prime ministers and which are the events which have taken place during which prime minister's time. You read your political system. Shubham will he will tell nicely because he has read political science as a subject. So if you have that, so most of your general studies is covered in that. So your optional selection of your optional is going to be a very key determinant in your preparation. After you have read that static portion, you should just see whether that knowledge you have gained, whether it is applicable today or not. Like when India is conducting its foreign policy, what you have studied in the history, whether it is being followed or something new is coming, it is like, you know, old wine in new bottle. वही चीज़ को हम घुमाते रहते हैं. You should have good grip on your subjects, and then you should start reading newspaper. And newspaper में, and you know, one subject, economics. Economics is a subject that you prepare for your, you know, entire preparation. You will always feel difficulty if you are not from economics background. And the reason is because economics in itself is a vast subject. And for that, here they will, you know, any coaching institute, they don't have that much time that they will go for the basics. Read microeconomics, macroeconomics and international economics. 12th class, 11th class, you know, these books, they are more than sufficient. All the questions, all the basics will get there. So, you know, that was one part during preparation. So, and you know, there is a word called introspection. क्या मतलब होता है introspection का? Self assessment. थोड़ा सा और उसको define करो.
To find out our capability, where we are standing.
So, vocabulary is very, very important. You know, every subject comes with a vocabulary, because there is a specific word for every specific object, every specific idea which can be discussed. आप सिर्फ vocabulary सीखने वाले हो, कुछ नहीं करने वाले हो. पॉलिटी में आप जाओगे, उसकी अपनी vocabulary आएगी. When you go into a discipline, it will have its own vocabulary. Introspection is thinking about the way you think. कि जो आप सोच रहे हो, क्या उसके बारे में सोचना, क्या जो आप सोच रहे हो सही सोच रहे हो. So इंट्रोस्पेक्शन, आपने जो पढ़ा क्या वो रेलेवेंट है पढ़ने के लिए, आपको समझ में आया. अगर वो असेसमेंट आप नहीं कर पाओगे ना, तो यू विल नॉट नो वेयर यू आर स्टैंडिंग, एंड दैट वुड क्रिएट, यू नो, फ्रस्ट्रेशन, एंड डाउन द लाइन यू विल फील कि यार मेरी तैयारी कहीं भी नहीं चल रही है, कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है. गो, इफ़ यू कैन गो, इफ़ यू वांट, यू कैन गो एंड मीट ऑफिशियल्स लाइक योर SDM, DM, you can meet your MLA, you can meet your member of parliament, all the public officials, they meet everyone. Have an interaction with them and make your idea or make your decision if you haven't finalized. Because if you cannot see what you are going to become, if you are not very, very concentrated, you will have, you know, several lows in your preparation. Because this is a preparation, once you start, it is going to be something. It is something which will change your life, your social life, your life of your family, whatever you get selected or you don't get selected. In both the cases, it will change your life, because it is going to take at least minimum 2 years, 3 years, 4 years of the most productive time of your life. If you get selected, it will change. If you are not selected, then you will think, यार मैं पीछे रह गया हूँ. But if you have read properly, if you have studied properly, all the people who have not even made up for the civil services, I have seen they do very good in life, because the knowledge they gather here, it comes very handy, and वो किसी भी फील्ड में जाते हैं, they excel there.